Speaking of competitive fights, we only have to think about that Canelo fight for a little while, because next week we're back in action with three incredible fights at the UFC 259, headlined by none other than Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight championship of the world. Izzy moving up to challenge for his second world title in the UFC. I am so excited for this fight. There's two additional title fights in the build-up. The co-main is going to be Amanda Nunes, another two-weight division champion, against Megan Anderson from Australia, and Petra Yan versus Aljamain Sterling from Strong Island, New York. Hard not to root for Aljamain Sterling. Great guy, training with Matt Serra and the crew over in Long Island. I am so excited for this event. It's awesome. I mean, from top to bottom, all the fights are incredible. Talk to me about what you're looking for in the Israel Adesanya Jan Blachowicz fight. I know you've had a chance to watch tape on both of them, and obviously we've had Izzy on the show before.
Yeah, Ken, listen, beautiful job setting that up. Listen, I'm with you. I mean, it's something to be excited about. Adesanya, first of all, what am I excited about? It's got the possibility of being a war, a competitive fight. Yeah, he agrees with me again. But it's got the possibility of all that. Okay, number one. But I think we're watching somebody different. Somebody very special that doesn't come along too often. That comes along once in a lifetime. Kind of like a Bruce Lee. If people say I'm being too much, go ahead. Come on, bring it, baby. Go ahead. I don't care. I know what my eyes tell me. I know what my too many years of experience tell me in the fight business. I think Adesanya, there's something different about this guy athletically, mentally. I believe he believes he has a destiny to be special, to be great. Kind of like a Tiger Woods had a destiny with his father to be maybe the greatest golfer of all time. We hope to God, of course, that he heals up after his accident. There's different people that have that feeling of destiny attached to them. I think he's one of them that does feel that, does believe that, does act like that. He's a guy that you don't know what you're going to get when you're watching him. You don't know what's new and fantastic might happen right in front of your eyes, really. And he's a smaller guy moving up, and that makes it intriguing for me too, because, again, we used to always think, oh, the bigger guy has the advantage. No, now we're starting to learn, the smaller guy, like we saw with Valdez destroy Birchgel. Maybe it's the smaller guy that has the advantage because he's smarter. Maybe he's more dimensional. Maybe he's better technically. Maybe he's faster. You ever think of those things? So it's interesting to think of this fight. As I said, you got, and in Blachowicz, you got an experienced guy who is so physically strong, bigger naturally guy. He's, and he's better on the mat, on the floor. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's 38 years old, but here's the thing. I want to bring that out. He's 38 years old, but Ken, here's the thing I made to myself. I went over this, I prepared for this stuff. I made a note to myself. I said, you know what that reminds me of? I'll make the argument for a 38-year-old, because a lot of people say the youth and the skill is going to be, maybe the youth will be served. Maybe the youth and skill and confidence and belief and everything I just touched on with Adesanya will be served. But here's the thing. Don't count him short. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. We understand that. He's won 8 of his last 9. We're talking about Blachowicz. But at 38, for me, he's like the great Jersey Joe Walcott or Ezra Charles and Archie Moore, the great boxers who had some of their great wins, their greatest wins, in their mid and late 30s. So that's what I look at. That some guys, they're different genetically. They're just different. That's when they come into their prime. And just like Jersey Joe and the great Ezra Charles and the great Archie Moore, they were beating top fighters in their late 30s. So in some ways, I look at that. There's a precedent for it. I want to say that. I wanted to get that out there. Two things. I understand, again, if you're looking at Adesanya, he's in there with a bigger, naturally stronger guy. But number one, they're not lifting weights in there, Ken. That's number one. It's not like they're going to pick him up over the head, they're not doing that. That's number one. And from my eyes, Adesanya, he might not have to bulk and be as physically thick or obviously big boned, but he's pretty damn strong. And number two, I touched on it earlier, he's faster and much more mobile, and he's not going to allow Blachowicz to set where he can use his strength to... Look, we're going to handicap this fight when it's over, but this is my setup for the fight, that he's not going to allow Blachowicz to set where he can use his strength to punch or get inside where he can take him to the mat and keep him there. Adesanya might not be as good, as I said, on the mat, as obviously he's not, as Blachowicz, but he doesn't have to be. He's very good at avoiding being taken there. That's pretty damn important. He's very good at that. Listen, Adesanya is smart. As I said, he's fast. I believe he's going to kick out the legs. He's going to look to kick out the legs of Blachowicz so he can't get set, to be the strong, destructive guy that he is. I mean, it's one thing being a bigger, stronger guy, but if your legs aren't there and you can't be set, Dustin Poirier, our friend, a great human being, great champion, he pulled off that great upset with McGregor. What did he do? Yeah, McGregor's a great striker, great counterpuncher, but you can't be that if your legs ain't there. You can't! And he took his legs out. So, for me, Adesanya showed the ability to do that when he fought another big, strong guy, Costa, in his last fight. He took his legs out, and Costa couldn't be the big, strong guy. So, that's what I'm looking for going into this fight. You can't make a mistake. I would say this on ESPN all the time, Ken, when I was calling the fights. It's the kind of fight where Adesanya, there's no margin for error. You can't make a mistake. This guy can bang. Punches, as I always say, punches are born, they're not made. This guy can punch. I mean, like the old timers would say, Ken, he hits you on top of the head and he fractures your ankles. All right?
You look at what he did to Dominic Reyes, who gave John Jones all he could handle in 5 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
And Blachowicz blasted him right out of the ring. I mean, annihilated
No,
him.
I mean, look, like I said, he hit you on top of the head, he fractured your ankles. That's tough. That's rough. And look, for me, as I said earlier, Adesanya, he reminds me a little bit of the legendary, I know there's no Bruce Lee, but I'm just saying, he reminds me of, because he's unorthodox, he's different, he's very, very physically talented, with great instincts, mental toughness, belief.
The thing that I like about Izzy is he has that intangible quality that like Conor McGregor, John Jones, Jorge Masvidal have. When they tell you they're going to beat the hell out of someone, they convince me. I'm like, he's definitely going to do it. This guy, he's got me convinced. And other guys, can talk and posture, but he's just so believable. He has so much self-confidence that I think he's going to do it.
You just touched it because they believe it, Ken. Some people saying things don't believe it. They say it because they feel they have to say it because it's going to get them money. It's expected of them to say it. The promoter wants them to say it to sell all that stuff. But those guys, Ali being the first of them, they believed it when they said it. They believed it.
I think Izzy's also going to be well served with his professional kickboxing background, and it's going to help him avoid getting caught standing in the pocket with Jan, because he doesn't want to get hit on the end of those punches. Nevertheless, awesome card coming up. We'll have tons of content to discuss, and who knows, hopefully we'll get Izzy back on to talk about his performance after the fight. Hey, before I let you go, too, I just wanted to point out for the guys at MyBookie, at mybookie.ag, use the promo code ATLAS for 50% credit on your first deposit. The line on that Israel Adesanya fight is Izzy's minus 250, Jan Blachowicz at plus 195, over under 2.5 rounds with the minus 140 that it goes over 2.5. Given the odds, would you lay 250 to take Izzy?
Yes, I believe in him. I just finished saying what I said about him. I could be wrong. Obviously, it's gambling. It's called gambling, baby. But listen, I believe in him. I believe the guy's special. And special guys rise to these special moments. You know, and they
I'm with you.
They do what they got. I would be more intrigued if if I'm worried about the numbers more, about laying the wood. I'd be more looking at that under-over. I'd be looking at that a little bit more. That could be interesting, Ken. And maybe tilt a little towards the over, because this guy, I know he's 38, and you talk about youth being served, but he's experienced. He's pretty. I talked about the ability of Adesanya to kick your legs out. Guess what? Blachowicz is pretty damn good with his feet kicking guys' legs out. So you can't catch a faster guy. It's kind of like in my sport, in boxing, where you're going to fight a fast guy, you go to the body. Take some air out of the tires so you can start to slow him down with the legs. Well, in this great sport of MMA, what they do is they can kick out instead. What replaces the body, it's still the body. Look at the great Max Holloway. Oh, my goodness, what he did putting water in the basement. If you guys haven't seen that interview, go look at it. We had him on last week. Go look at it. This is a special man, an honest man. Oh, and he's got a good message for kids out there, a message that I think all kids should hear, almost should be mandated. They should hear. But he had a great fight plan with that tough cater in front of him, going to the body, putting water in the basement, and towards the stretch run, Cater didn't have as much left in the fuel tank because of the body work. It worked. He knew what to do. He went to the body. He did it like the fighters do it. But Adesanya and Blachowicz, and a lot of the other MMA fighters, the way that they put water in the basement and take the legs away is they kick the legs out. Like again, our buddy our buddy Poirier did, Dustin did, kicking the legs out of McGregor. So I think that's going to be in the plan for both of them. We talked about Adesanya, but we didn't mention, and I am now, we talked about the bulk, the physical strength, the punching ability of Blachowicz, but he's pretty damn good on his legs kicking. Pretty damn good. So here he is. Remember, he's got a say in this too. He says, I got to fight a fast guy, a guy who can be like the wind in there, really tough to corral. What am I going to do? Well, I'm not going to go to his body because I won't even get close enough to get to his body. I'll kick his legs out. If I can kick out his legs, I'll take away some of his mobility, some of his ability to be a ghost and do all these great things Teddy's talking about in a ring. So he'll be looking to do that. And while he's looking to do that, well, that prolongs the fight. Fight a little bit. And I could maybe see slanting a little towards the over. Because it also suggests, when you're saying that Blachowicz is going to do that, it talks about what I think also Adesanya is great at, the cerebral. He's smart.
Yes.
And I think Blachowicz, what it suggests there is he ain't just going to walk in. He's not stupid. He ain't just going to walk in there like the bigger, stronger guy and get blasted out, in 2 rounds, 1.5 rounds, whatever the under-over is. He's gonna be more thoughtful than that. He's going to realize that he's got to think this through a little bit, that he's got to do other things if he's going to give himself a real legitimate chance to win and be in this fight. So I just talked myself into the over. Put something on the over for me, right?
You got it. And just very quickly, Amanda Nunes, just to show you what a huge favorite she is, she's minus 1,100, plus 755 on Megan Anderson. However, in the other title fight, Petra Yan and Aljamain Sterling are both minus 115, dead even there. So good luck to Aljo Sterling. Love to see the Long Island guys get a win here, get a title. He's been around for a long time, super tough guy. But head over to MyBookie to check out all the betting action. MyBookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS for 50% credit on your first deposit.